Any
Where's that
potential
child
drama.
support?
What are you talking about?
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Talks Online. Today we're here with Matt Wilson.
Hey,
and
Oh no.
yes, you may know him as Yang, or yeah, you'll probably just know him as Yang, to be honest. But yeah,
Depends what channel you're on, but yeah.
It's camera face.
That's it. That's the video we've got.
Yeah.
The camera face.
Good interview,
Peace
guys.
out.
So Matt, what inspired you to start cosplaying in the first place?
That's a good question. I think we always had times when I was a kid where we'd dress up. Me and my friends would kind of dress up as different characters, like from World and stuff. I think the first one I ever technically did was, I think it was Asterix from the Asterix and Obelix books.
All right,
Which
yeah.
I've still got like pieces of that somewhere. Like I've still got the sword and I've still got the moustache. Somewhere in my primary school, that photo was hanging there for like a good 10 years, but I don't know where it's gone. I wish I could find it. But I guess to begin with, it was always the kind of an interest in prop making that kind of started me off in it.
Alright.
Creed Hidden Blades, like actual ones made using like draw slides and stuff. So this was the first one I made, which was I kind of heavily altered to do the flippy thing, which it does in the third one. So I made a couple of those, and then obviously it got to the point where I'd first been introduced to Ruby, and I was like, these weapons are freaking awesome. I was like,
Oh hell yeah!
I want to try making one of these. So I showed my dad to make like Ruby's Crescent Rose at some point. He took one look at it and basically told me to F off because of how complicated it was. But yeah, then I guess I kind of went down the path of making my own weapons, and then eventually decided I want to give a shot at making Yang's Basilica, which you can see the original build
behind
of
you, yeah.
Oh yeah.
on the back, yeah. And then it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I've made the weapons, I might as well kind of try my hand at making a costume for it. So I just bought a couple of leather jackets online and had like the yellow t-shirt and kind of butchered them into rough parts of a costume and just went to a couple of meets after that. And actually I found out I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected that I would. And then it just kind of snowballed from there, with me just cosplaying as Yang pretty much every single con, gradually upgrading to the volume 5 and 6 design, and then wanting to do the volume 7 one in November, which, to be honest, probably is going to have to be pushed back to next year at this point. But
We'll see. Yeah.
it's always just, yeah, I'd say definitely the props and then going into costume making, I think, is my main interest, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting actually. So what cosplays have you done outside of Yang Xiaolong?
So I think the first non-Ruby one I did was Tatsumi from Akame ga Kill, which I think that one was Birmingham 2019, I think.
Okay.
So that was probably the most expensive one I made, simply as because of the amount of money I spent on dyes for the clothing. It was like the blacksmith design, which he has for maybe like 10 minutes in the entire series, where he's kind of got a long kind of brownish coat, which I had left over from a film that I made for uni. So I kind of tried dyeing that, dyed it too much, had to buy some stuff to remove the dye, which didn't work. Bleached it I bleached it 5 times to get it back to a decent color, and then dyed it the right one. So that one I enjoyed doing a little bit, but I didn't enjoy it quite as much, simply because it wasn't as recognizable. So like anyone who'd asked me what it was, they just assumed it was an OC until they saw the sword, which was slightly more recognizable. I think that one might be the one which I come back to eventually. The next non-Yang one I did was Jean-Arc from Not This Time Fate, which is a really, really good Ruby fan fiction with a kind of universe type thing. It's a really good one. I'd totally recommend looking at. It was like 50 chapters, and like I think it's about over 6. Yeah, it's 600,000 words, I think. It's really, really. It's basically a full novel.
That's a lot of words.
Yeah, it's a lot of words. Yeah. So I did that one in London in May.
Yeah.
They brought to Manchester, and we had that Jean fight scene.
Yeah,
during the Ruby
I just
panel,
remembered that. Yeah.
which was, that one was pretty good. And then the only other non-Ruby one I've done, which is probably my second favorite, is Naofumi from the Shield Hero. That one,
Yeah.
like the amount, I think that was London last year in October.
Yeah, I remember you wearing it.
Yeah, I got stopped so many times for photos. It was quite nice, but it was actually really comfortable as well, and it actually like thought would be quite expensive. Like the trousers, like just trying to find green trousers online, it was like 20-25 quid.
Jesus.
Popped into a local charity shop, found a pair of green trousers, fitted me perfectly.
Yeah.
99p. So I saved a lot of money. Literally, my cosplay, when I get around to making it, the first place I will look in is charity shops, so you can find stuff for dead cheap, and it's a brilliant way of saving money and means more money for spending on conventions and all this merch, which I don't have room for anymore.
No one has room.
Yeah.
No one has room for merch.
Yeah.
Sadly, at my shelf. But speaking of cosplays, Matt, we're going to get this out the way nice and early so I don't forget like we did last time.
Yeah.
So throughout all our interviews that we've been doing, we have a list of the total amount of cosplays that all the people we have interviewed have done.
Yeah.
So, Matt Wilson, how many total cosplays have you done? And that can include different variants and stuff like that.
If we're talking just like kind of cosplays of me as an adult, I had my modern day Assassin's Creed character.
Okay.
And then I had my first version of my Ruby OC, which was 2016. Then I had my original Yang gender bend, and then the volume 5/6 version.
Yeah.
And there was Jean, Naofumi, Tatsumi, and my newest OC, which I just finished about a month or so ago. So I think that's about 8 so far, I think. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting any. I think 8. Yeah.
You can always come back to it. So, Matt, I can tell you, you are joint last on the list.
It doesn't surprise me. When you cosplay the same character every single convention, it kind of limits the number of varieties you can get.
I mean, don't like feel bad about it or anything.
Oh no, definitely not.
Like, the ones you've done are awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
thank you very much. Let me tell you, the one who's on top is 36.
Yeah, blimey.
Yeah, so she's a little bit mental, and hopefully.
I've not even been to 36 conventions, so even like
there you go.
I think even if I had a different one every single day, I might reach.
Yeah, like, just I don't know how people do 36, but they have.
Yeah.
So,
Just do a kind of week.
Yeah, clearly.
Oh my god.
If that was
So,
viable, that'd be hilarious.
So, Matt, you briefly mentioned it earlier, but how did Rust come to be a thing?
Okay, right. So, I think it was the beginning of. I think it was midway through 2015. I think I'd watched Ruby, but I wasn't like 100% invested in it.
Right.
And then when I went to RTX Austin in 2015, I went and saw the Ruby panel, and they showed the kind of the concept footage, or like the rough version of I think it was Team Sun. No, hang on. No, it was. They had the kind of rough animatic of that, and I was just so excited by that. Like the second I got home, I basically binge watched Ruby 1 through 2 like 5 times before it came out. And I was like, you know what? I want to start like figuring out a design for a weapon for if I would use it, like if I was in the show.
Yeah.
So I went through like 6 or 7 different designs. Kind of had something kind of looking a little bit similar to Emerald's pistols. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
even some of the ones, one of the concepts I actually used for one of the team members, Amber, which is like the kind of stabbing blade with a pistol in it.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one's in use by one of my characters. And then eventually I kind of quite liked Adam Taurus's sword, because I always thought he had a really cool design, especially for his weapons and his fighting style. And then I realized I want to kind of do something sort of like that. And then I kind of went through a process of like, what guns do I like using in video games and stuff. So it kind of varies from
video games, not real
Yeah.
life. Like
No.
everyone wants in real
not American, no, just
America.
yeah. But,
Come out with an AR-15. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, so eventually I settled on the design, started making it, kind of crafted a bit of a costume around it, which was basically just whatever clothes that I had. And then I used it in a short film which I did for uni, which was kind of a post-apocalyptic type thing with some sort of mystical weapons. So a very original concept, of course.
Oh yes.
And then it came to my third year of uni, and I was like, I want to make an actual animated short for this character. And very quickly realized that just because I'd spent a couple of months using Source Filmmaker didn't automatically make me an amazing animator.
Oh god, yeah.
All of this stuff.
Bloody SFM,
Okay.
my god.
What can I do instead? I think, okay, what if I do an actual live action Ruby film? Which I did a quick Google for, and there wasn't really anything of its kind out there apart from like just the odd kind of cosplay music video.
Yeah.
So I got round to writing a bit of a script with a good friend of mine who he knows bits and pieces about Ruby, but not massively, but he kind of helped me through with the script and the choreography.
Oh yeah.
And it just basically went from there, turned it into a film after about 8 months or so, put it out on YouTube, and after being retweeted by Rooster Teeth a couple of times, it just kind of blew up in
really?
Yeah, like
it's damn. Yeah, nice freaking
because
job.
we had there was like the Fun Out Friday competition they used to do.
Okay.
I just entered it in there on a whim. I thought,
why not?
See what would happen, and so that got tweeted out on the official Rooster Teeth channel, which was on the Twitter account, which was pretty cool. Kind of jump started its views, and it kind of took off from there. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Obviously, there's certain things about it which I'd wish I'd done differently. Like the color grading is rubbish because I tried to make it look like it was nighttime, being set during a beacon, and trying to do that in the day when it's ridiculously sunny. It's not easy.
No, hell no.
I just wish I'd kind of left it like maybe said that it happened the following day rather than the same night.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good learning experience. I definitely want to try and film sequels for the rest of the characters at some point, but it's just a matter of casting and when people are all available, I guess. Yeah, of course. I mean, literally as much help as we can get. I mean, I think when I was looking through the script, I think we had about 15 White Fang members in the script, like 15 different ones. But there was only 4 people, but fortunately because it's all the same uniform, each person would play like 3 different White Fang members. And
yeah.
So it really saved on the acting roles there.
Well, as Jordan knows, I'm incredibly good at getting hit in the face and being all right with it. So.
Yeah. All right. Never gonna let it go.
Throwbacks to Manchester again. Yeah.
Throwbacks. But yeah, the fact that you like look back on it now and say, "Oh, I could have done this better. I could have done this better," shows that you've improved, of course.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you'd be more than qualified because there was one bit. It's in the bloopers of the or like the behind the scenes video of the thing. But there's a bit where me and Oscar Lawrence, who plays the villain, who did an amazing job. Honestly, some of his voice acting was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was so creepy.
She escaped? How could you idiots let her get away?
But there was a bit where he's meant to kind of headbutt me, and then I kind of hit him in the head with the back of the pistol part.
Okay.
Now, we'd choreographed this a little bit, but because everyone was so far apart, I was kind of teaching people the choreography on the day.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was kind of a little bit janky. But so he was meant to kind of be ready to kind of get hit back. but he leaned forward a little bit. So, give me one sec.
Oh no.
Bloodstain?
So this thing is pretty much all wood, right?
Yeah.
So this
Oh,
thing
damn.
as well it's not exactly. It's quite strong and it's very
Yeah.
sharp. So I
See
go
where
like
this is
that to kind of pretend to hit him in the face, but not taking into account that he's leaned in slightly, and it just smacks right on his mouth. You see me in the video going, "Oh my god, are you okay?" I mean, fortunately, because he was wearing the mask, he only had a little bit of a bruise.
Ah,
But
that's all right.
the person who made the mask commented on the thing, saying, "Oh, I reckon it like commend you on your craftsmanship because it managed to take a pretty strong blow without getting dented whatsoever."
Yeah.
But,
Oh, nice.
yeah, no, it was brilliant fun. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that again.
So did that shot make the final cut or not?
It didn't, no.
Oh,
say, like, goddamn.
unfortunately not because I mean it could have done if we'd kind of played along with it, but just my reaction is just so quickly leaning in, checking if he's okay. Just was
Yeah.
one shot where a brilliant shot where I'm kind of like leant up against a tree. It's near the beginning, and I'm kind of like, I bet you hear someone in the distance. I'm kind of waving, say, you know, I'm over here, I need help. And my weapon falls out of its holster, and you just hear people laughing in the background. I did actually use that shot. I just trimmed the end of it off of it a little bit and just spliced it with a different shot, so it kind of worked like that. There's a good
Yeah.
number of shots of people falling over when they weren't meant to.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
it was quite
Oh.
muddy as well. Which we did end up actually using those shots, but yeah, I just kind of trimmed it down a little bit. There's a brilliant one close to the beginning with James Earl, who you might know.
Oh, yeah, we
yeah.
know James. We know James.
Stuff, yeah. So we're kind of locking the swords. So then there's a friend of mine in the background I kind of made these really rubbish kind of claw type things by painting some cardboard and using double-sided tape to stick it onto his fingernail. And he's kind of in the background, starts charging and trips over a log and just falls onto the ground. And everyone just starts laughing. I just cut that a little bit off in the end, fade to black, and nothing ever happened.
Yeah. Nothing bad ever
Happened. Ever.
Ever.
It's
Oh
got
my
the technical
God.
difficulties music.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to 90% of our content. but
Yeah.
We won't talk about that. So speaking of like Russ and everything like that, in a same similar vein, what inspired you and Dan and Will to start Warp Dimension Media?
So Dan had already been doing cosplay videos for ages, like even before I met him.
Okay.
He did that on his old channel. And then I, obviously having just bought a new camera, we'd meet back in, I think it was August 2016. So we'd been talking a little bit there. Then when I went to my first convention which was Birmingham 2016 in November, kind of hung out for a little bit then. I just helped him film the odd little bit of footage.
Yeah.
And then the next one I went to would have been November 2017, at which point I just bought myself a new camera. I was like, I'd be more than happy to help film things. So I want to, have more stuff to put on my show reel films. And then, gradually got more equipment. And then we had kind of a bit of a talking, like on a lead up to November 2018. I was thinking, I do filming. Dan also does filming, but he's obviously was quite a big part of the community organizing the old meets, and a lot of people recognize him. So he's got a lot of contacts. And Will, having got into photography and stuff, we thought, why don't we just kind of combine forces and start a channel around kind of cosplay stuff, so that we can all kind of have our own input into it. And I guess it just kind of started from there, really. And then just had our history of shenanigans and cosplay videos, and the rest history. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty great that you find just people who effectively share the same stuff you do, and it spirals from there, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I can't imagine me and Steve when we first met each other 13 years ago, we would be doing this right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
but it's a bit mental.
So, what advice would you give to yourself, either about cosplay, YouTube, or something related that you'd give to yourself? What's the advice you'd be like, you need to know this?
Temper your expectations to begin with. Don't try and like make something ridiculously or like plan something ridiculously convoluted without having at least tested a little bit of it first.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that that's like I set my expectations for some things way too high. And then to begin, like when I first like finished building this with a VOC weapon, I hated it, honestly. Like for the first week,
Really?
I really
Oh.
didn't. I really didn't
Nah.
like the way it turned out. I don't know what it was about it. I mean, the design I was fine with. Just something about the build I just didn't like. I thought people would hate it and stuff. But then I realized that
All
at
right.
the end of the day, people just they see something cool, they'll like it. I think
Yeah.
my
Oh,
main
hell yeah.
issue is when I make props and stuff, I'll see all these little imperfections, but at the end of the day, only I will notice.
Yeah,
it's right
I
there
know
in
that.
front of me.
Yes, that is it.
I think everybody knows that at some point in their
Yeah.
cosplay career,
Yeah.
let's say.
And so so that was a kind of like a big kind of hurdle for me to get over to begin with. I mean, even with some of the props I've been working on recently, like one of the ones which I'm kind of in the process of making right now, it's Malfeasance from Destiny 2, which I've been having a lot of fun with. I've not had a chance to do anything else on it since because work's been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of imperfections with this, especially around that kind of a handle and stuff. But at the end of the day, once I just get a good coat of paint on it, I think it will hide a lot of the.
You probably
of
won't
those
notice,
issues.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It does that, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think that's probably my main piece of advice is not to fret over all the small details, because unless it's like on a close-up shot or of like a video or photo or something, people won't really notice. So I kind of just accepted that for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. There's one thing a friend of ours said a while ago, which was like, if you do something or don't do something, unless you basically tell someone that you've done it or not done it, they will never know that that wasn't something you intended to do.
Yeah.
Steve Jordan, do you remember who said that?
No, I
Quick
don't, but
question.
it's good advice. Who said that?
It is
I
amazing.
want to say Gemma.
Yeah, Jordan's right. See, professional cosplayers, they're really good for
Exactly,
advice
yeah.
sometimes. It sounds dumb. You do know what we're talking about, don't you, Matt?
Yeah, no, she was the Akali in our Kingsman video, and then also we did some shoots.
Oh,
with her
yeah,
as
she
the,
wasn't
as
she?
well.
Oh yeah, you have. Oh yeah, you have to know who she is because she's on
Yeah.
like every single Warp Dimension thumbnail. But anyway,
Dan's the one who makes the thumbnails, not me. I just do a behind the scenes nonsense.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Well,
Deflection blame.
Dan, watching this, we noticed. All right.
I'm saying,
We
I'm
noticed,
pretty sure we're
and we
both
know why
guilty
you do it
anyway.
because it works. Anyway.
Just get all those extra clicks in. Why not?
Oh yeah. So Matt, last question for now is so when you like cosplaying basically any of the cosplays, do you like sort of change into that character like personality wise, or do you just sort of like stick to yourself, or whichever really?
That's kind of a bit difficult, I think. I mean,
It is.
I guess, yeah, for Yang, obviously for Yang, I definitely do, because I've kind of absorbed a lot of her personality into myself to a point where that's just who I am.
Oh, yeah, we know.
I mean, my friends know enough. The amount of crap I get online when playing GTA and stuff, instantly getting blown up if I make puns or something.
Yeah.
To a point where I'm in so many. I'd say, I don't think I did for Tatsumi, because I think he's just a kind of a generally, I mean, at least in the early part of the series, he's quite naive. He's not kind of he doesn't fully know the horrors of the world that he lives in until later on in the series. And I think at that point, because it was on the day of doing the Kingsman shoot, I was kind of stressing over that so much that I didn't really have the time or energy to kind of get into character for that.
Right.
I'd say Jean, not this time Fate Jean, I think I did a little bit, because he gets quite a kind of a snarky kind of personality in part of the story. He has a lot of kind of one-liners and just kind of general sarcasm, which used to be my sense of humor. So I did pull that out a little bit. I think now Fumi, I think he's quite a kind of a jaded individual after everything which happens in the series, with him getting framed and whatnot. So I mean, for photo shoots and stuff, I kind of tried to get into character, But
Yeah.
I think for the most part, I was just kind of playing myself with that. I was just kind of being myself. I mean, because it's a bit difficult to be a kind of a jaded version of Naofumi when you're carrying when you're carrying around a massive plushie of an Eevee to be Raftalia.
Yeah, I remember that from London. That was pretty great.
Yeah, and the obvious jokes that I was still making about the dust in the ozone layer and the fake news climate change and all of that stuff in that video.
Yeah, gotta save the ozone layer, mate. Gotta save it.
It's fake. It's fake news.
It's not fake news. Look, mate, dust causes changes in the ozone.
But yeah, I mean, for some characters, I mean, I'm not really sure exactly what I've got planned for characters going forward, but I wouldn't mind like trying to get a little bit more into their kind of personality for the future.
Yeah.
But it just kind of depends really, because some characters I'm cosplaying, I don't know the series quite as well.
Yeah.
But so I might have to do a little bit of research. But yeah, from like meets and stuff, I might get a little bit into character, but not kind of to the extent where it gets a little bit too intense, because I know that some people do end up getting too much into character and just kind of like, okay, back up a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit. Off me as Raven. But anyway, we'll just ignore.
Where's that child support?
I did not agree to this.
What are you talking about? You don't deserve child support. There you go. That's.
I think I'm just gonna go now.
Yeah, well, if you're going, so are we. So that's all right.
I mean, at least I didn't end up costing you an arm and a leg.
Right. Well, that's a really great play. Oh, dog.
God, when Will sees this, he's gonna be like just priming all of the orbital cannons in any video playing, just instant punishment.
Yep, probably for the best.
God, just don't tell him this video came out.
Maybe if he clicks the bell, he'll
Yeah.
we won't have to tell him.
Click that bell, hit the thumbs up button, and subscribe
Yeah.
for more of that good old C word of content.
I feel like we don't need to do an outro now. Like that was great. Like
Yeah, I know.
I'm happy with that. But what I will say just before we go, ladies and gentlemen, is this is only part 1 of Matt's interview. Part 2 of Matt's interview is over on the Fraction Room Network channel. So please make sure you hop over there and checketh that out, pleaseth, because we're going to be a lot more. Yes, unchained's the best way to phrase it because it doesn't sound as dirty. All right. Oh, hop over to the Fraction Room Network channel, see part 2. That would be awesome. But before you go, drop a subscribe. That would also be really awesome. And we will see you later. Down there, yes.
Bye.